Hello Captains, this is Kent again and welcome to the Flight Show. So today I am doing a little bit of a working review of Carenado's newly released Falcon 50. Now as you know, Flight Simware has just released a model as well, a little bit before Carenado. And so you might decide, which of the two do I want? Or which would I like to buy and have for my virtual hangar? Well, I can tell you that if you just want to jump in a cockpit and fly, Flight Simware might be a little bit more what you're looking for, but if you want a little bit more of a systems usage and analysis, then the Falcon 50 for Carenado is going to probably be the aircraft that you want. It's actually right off the back, I really like flying both. I would say that I'd probably like flying the Carenado more. It's a little bit more in-depth, though it's not PDMG level. But it is more in-depth. I think their flight models are relatively similar, although, you know, Carenado is notorious for kind of simplistic flight models as compared to, say, A2A's aircraft. But, you know, that notwithstanding, it's fun to fly, it's enjoyable to fly, and, you know, realism, you have to take a balance between what's realistic and what's enjoyable for a lot of users. So, all of that being said, I think you're going to enjoy this review, and it'll help you get an idea if this is some money that you want to invest. And even though I think it's a little bit more in-depth of an aircraft in terms of systems, it's actually a little bit cheaper than Flight Simware. So you make the decision, but let's get on in and get this working review going. What we're going to do is have a flight so you can see the systems from Nuremberg to, oh gosh, I forget the name of the airport, or at least I pronounce it. It's in France. So let me just look here and see the name. It's going to be Nice Cote. I can't pronounce it, but it will be Lima Foxtrot Mike November. Gosh, I took German in high school, forgive me. Guten Tag, Guten Tag, Fräulein und Herr, whichever you actually are. And although I actually found out that women don't really like being called Fräulein, so I better not use that either. Oh, let's just get in our cockpit and make it happen. Okay, so we're in. I'm not doing a cold and dark startup, so we're just gonna get things so that you can kind of see how systems go. Since we are in the cockpit, though, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on our lights. I forget, we don't have beacons for this particular aircraft, and we're going to go ahead and hit this because our passengers could be coming on. This is a business jet. Also, no smoking, though you should know that by now. So let's see, I got our lights going. We do not have to use our APU because we're already started up. So what I want to do is go right to getting our flight plan in. Now, I've already made our flight plan, but I thought you'd want to see how this works. Now, if you are accustomed to Boeing or to British Aerospace 146, this is going to seem somewhat familiar to you, though it's not directly like a 737's but CDU, but it's very close. So let's just go ahead and go over to position, and we are at Nuremberg, so EDDN, and we slap that in here. And go over to our flight plan. You can see that's already in, so we just have to put our destination, which is LFMN, or Lima Foxtrot Mike November. And we put it up here. And our alternate is going to be Lima Foxtrot Tango Foxtrot. So we can put that right here. Okay, so then our first waypoint is going to be Delta Kilo Bravo. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible, and then we'll go to our next page. And so we got where our airway is going to be Utah November 869. So we'll put that right in there. Oh, disappeared. I may have said it. I may have done it wrong. So again, let's see. UN 869. Tap it. Oh, there we go. Then Nator, so November Alpha Tango. What is that? What number? Romeo. There we go. Sorry. Okay. Now I'm going to try to do this quickly, so bear with me. Utah, November 850. That's our next airway. And then ODINA. Got that? Good. And then we go to our next. What is that? Is that the airway? Yeah, I think it is. So N850. In fact, it is. And then Ivano. So EVANO. You can actually, follow along on this if you're testing this plane out on for the first time. And then our next airway is November 763, or is it 36? No, 36. Dyslexia, bad. Airway right there. And then our last will be RDI. Great. Wait, did it go? Because it will advance. Yeah, it'll advance you to the next page, which is actually kind of cool. You don't have to do it yourself. Now we'll go to depart. We will be departing on runway 28 out of Nuremberg, and our SID will be Delta Kilo Bravo 4 Kilo. Did I get that right? Yes. And execute. And then we will go to our arrival, which we will be arriving on 4 right, an ILS approach, and that will be board, I want to say Bordeaux for some odd reason, but it's board 6C. And our transition is, they only give us Transamuse and Nera, which is not what we have, so we're just going to go ahead and execute that. Is that right? No? Okay, so that's what we got. This is what we're rolling with. Okay, now I wanted to show you this, and if you go to your legs very quickly, you see everything defaults to 35,000 feet. We are actually going to be cruising at 31,000 feet, so let me show you how to do this. You put in dash and then 31000, or you could say flight level, so FL310. Then you just replace. Now the quickest thing is then to tap, move on, tap, move on, tap, move on. Yep, tap, 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 tap. Now we will be using air traffic control, so these altitudes may not exactly go because we're going to use radar contact, and they don't care for SIDs quite so much. So, and nor stars. So we'll see how this goes. And I'm going to try to do this as right as possible, correct as possible, but these past few times that I've practiced it, not so much. But we're going to give it a good shot. Okay, so we've got our navs in. We are good to go. So let's come back up here. Now, I just wanted to show you. If you hit here, you can say your nav sources. So I want my nav source to be, my bearing source to be FMS1, unless we have to use our heading for air traffic control. And our nav source here is, so our bearing source here, nav source here. And we're going to go down here, and I'm assuming that's our second. I gotta find that out, but bear with me. Okay, so all that's taken care of. We can close this. Now, if you hit refs, now you get your V speeds, and they're all right there. So our V rotate is 123, and our V2 is 135. That's when we're taking off. Then you hit this, the appropriate number, and you get your V ref when you land, by the way. But we'll worry about that later. Okay, so now all of that is taken care of. We are ready to listen to our ATIS. Let's see, 2.
Echo, Delta, Delta, November, local ATIS information, Lima, wind 290.
Now, we're in Germany, but that is not a German accent, but we're going to just, you know, we're going to look over that.
Broken 2, 5,000, temperature 6, dew point 3, QNH, niner, landing and departing, runway 28.
Okay, so we've got that information, so let's go ahead and get ground.
Ground, Falcon 368, ready for clearance to east.
Falcon 368, ground, cleared to east. We have published departure procedures, then, as filed, climb flight level 70, squawk 3416, departure frequency 119.52.
Okay, so we got all that. I just wrote it down.
Clear to Nice
So,
via published
Nice is
departure
what I should have
procedure,
said.
Then, as filed, climb flight level 70, squawk 3416, departure 119.52, Falcon 368.
Okay.
368, read back correct.
Alright, so let's go ahead and put our squawk in. So the way you'll do it is you'll come over here, highlight the first digit, and as they said, it is 3416. So put this on 3. Then you use the bottom dial to move over, and that's 4. Bottom dial to move over, and that's 1. And then bottom dial to move over, and then 6. Okay, so we're good. We got our squawk in, and hitting the button will advance our you know, our ground. So now we can ask for pushback and start, so we'll do that.
Ground, Falcon 368 at the rim, ready to push.
I'm going to put on our taxi.
Falcon 368, clear to push. Starting your discretion. Contact ground when you're ready. On 121.8.
Alright, we'll acknowledge.
Ground on 121.8.
Okay, so I don't think we've got room here, nor do, for whatever reason, I do not believe my GSX is working properly. So, ooh. Yeah, I was wondering where my sound was. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and do pushback with our Control P. Release brakes. That'll make it go a little bit faster. Now let's just get a look. We don't have a lot of room to back up. We don't want to blow that plane, you know, if it's more, so we're just going to stop right about here. We can get our turn in pretty well. What's that guy walking around for? Okay, so now we will request taxi from ground.
Ground, Falcon 368 is with you at the rim. Request taxi.
Falcon 368 ground, taxi holding point, runway 28 QNH, niner.
Acknowledge.
Runway 28 QNH, niner, Falcon 368.
Now so we're ready for taxi, but I really want to put this in real fast, and that's our altitude, which should be 7,000. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our taxi on. Okay. And I have my tracker software running, so that's cool. Just coming out of here at a nice 8 miles per hour. Or should I say knots, really. Sorry about that. And we will turn here. All right. Decent winter weather coming out. I mean, Nuremberg is just an incredibly beautiful airport. Now, I may edit out this taxi. We'll just kind of have to see how it goes and how it feels. But at least we have a chance to look at some visuals. So they just told us to tune into the tower, so I'm about to do so.
Tower, Falcon 368, ready for departure. Runway 28.
Falcon 368, roger.
Okay, so let's get some visuals out here. If you are ever on the fence about getting a good European airport, let me tell you, Nuremberg is absolutely beautiful. Is it Wild Beam Yonder? Wild Blue? Y Blue Yonder? Working in conjunction with Flightbeam. Love this airport. Have to fly out of it more often because the visuals are just superb. And so you know, I'm using trees by not the default trees, turbulent design. As you can see, just looking at the peripherals, this is just phenomenal when it comes to the foliage. Various types of trees. The winter graphics are excellent. So you just want to make sure that you get that, you know, to enjoy, you know, make your flight more immersion, having greater immersion for your flight. And my weather is, as I've mentioned before, is active sky, and I'm using Sky Force Rex Sky Force for the renderings. So all this I hope will make some great visuals for the flight.
Falcon 368, tower, runway 28, line up and wait.
Okay, we're here to line up and wait. I will acknowledge.
Runway 28, roger. Falcon 368.
Now I am going to go ahead and see if I can here. I'm going to have to tell it vertical speed before it's going to reference that, so that's fine. But we'll want to get on the sticks early. Now remember, I have not found that this has auto throttle, so you're going to have to kind of manage your ascent rate with your throttle speed because you do not want to exceed 250 knots going up to 6,000 feet. So I'll be kind of active trying to get on the pulling back on the throttles because this speed can get away with you very quickly in this tri-jet. Okay. We are lined up.
Falcon 368, winds 290 at 14, runway 28, cleared for takeoff.
Alright, we're cleared.
Cleared for takeoff. Falcon 368.
Landing lights. There we go. Full speed. Now you see it starts to creep forward even though I got my brakes on. So when it does that, it's time to let those brakes off and let's go down the runway. So as you can see, it's coming up on our screen our V speeds. So V2 will be coming up right about now. We already have rotate. All right. We are off the ground. Positive rate of climb. Gear up. Now I'm going to hit vertical speed. And I'm going to ask it for 2,000 feet per minute. acknowledge.
Over to departure.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hit autopilot so we can get on the ascent and our heading track.
Departure Falcon 368 is with you, leaving 3,200 feet for flight level 70.
Falcon 368, departure, radar contact, climb, flight level 120.
Climb flight level 120, Falcon 368.
Alright, it wants us to go to 12,000. So, you gotta be quick, because I don't want to get any errors on altitude. Let's see here. 120. How'd that happen so fast? 120.
Altimeter check.
Now we're going to get some throttle so we can get some a little bit more speed. We just don't want to exceed 250 until we're over 10,000. Alright. So I'm fine with that. Okay. So far so good. Keep your eye on your speeds. Don't we don't want to bust 250. But we're on our navs. We're on a good ascent. It's just, I'm having a problem like when they say change altitude, and then I set the altitude, that it now acknowledges the new altitude and not the older one. You know, like it'll settle at what the previous altitude was. I'm trying to figure out how to make sure that it doesn't do that. But now you think that this is, get your new altitude, like flight, in the manual, it says that this is your flight level change button. But when you put the label over it, it says, here, let me put it over there, speed hold. So I'm not entirely sure what the deal is, unless it makes you ascent at a rate such that you stay at a certain speed. I don't know. I'll give it a try, but that's been a little annoying to me. Alright, so anyway, let's go ahead and bring this up to 2,500. Now we need to give it more throttle because we're ascending faster, so speed's bleeding off a little bit, but this is cool. Okay, now we're above 10,000 feet, so I'm just going to go on and give it the gun. Raise our slats, and we're good. We're out of here. I know not clean. Haven't figured this aircraft out yet. Haven't had a time to fly it a ton, but I definitely wanted to do this review.
368, climb flight level 150.
Okay, so we'll acknowledge. They want us to go up to 150.
Falcon 368.
Falcon 368, contact Frankfurt Control 119.07.
Okay, acknowledge.
Frankfurt Control on 119.07. Unit control, Falcon 368, leaving flight level 130 for flight level 150.
Falcon 368, unit control, roger, climb, flight level 230.
Okay, now they want us to fly 230.
Climb, flight level 230.
Okay, so I'll dial that in. Alright, so now I'm going to hit and we got that on, and we're going to, now we're climbing at 3,000 feet per minute, and it seems to maintain, we're still accelerating, so I guess I'm going to leave it at 3,000. Usually I do about 2,000, 2,500, but if we're still accelerating and we're still doing 3,000 feet per minute, then that's fine with me. We'll just keep on flying out like a bat out of hell here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you back when we get to cruising altitude. Okay, captains, we're almost at our cruising altitude. We're at 29,700, climbing to 31,000. It's a little bit of turbulence up here, but our autopilot seems to be managing it pretty well.
Altitude.
Okay, we're going to work this out. Hold on, I'm actually trying to move this seat forward a little bit because I see I'm like in the seat, but let's see. Alright, we're out of the seat, and I want to turn this off, then save this in this position, save it in, you know, chase plane, and then zoom out just a wee bit. There we go. And I'll save this as my permanent camera position. There. And go ahead and save. That way when I look over, I will not have the seat quite, you know, in the way. Good job. Alright, and we are leveling off at 31,000 feet. We're very close to. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we just gotta... There we go. I had to go ahead and hit barometer to level that out, but it's correcting, and we are doing good. Forgive my phone ding right there. Alright, we are at cruising altitude. As I said, there seems to be a little bit of turbulence up here. But we're going to manage it, because we are no punks. Now, I know we are an executive jet, and my boss back there might want us to smooth it out, but you know what? He's just going to have to deal with it for a little bit. So, okay, I'll bring you back in a little bit. Okay, so we've just been given our instructions for descent, so I thought we'd bring you back. Okay, so we are now descending to flight level 280. And so I'm pulling back on the throttles a wee bit, because of course in our descent we should pick up a little bit of speed. But we have a heck of a lot of turbulence, and as it turned out, as I look... Uh-oh.
Flight level 240.
Okay, descend 240. Okay, I'm going to try to be on this. Forgive my inability to have idle conversation while I'm trying to make that work. But okay, 240. I think I have a pattern. I turn on RV, I hit hold speed on, and I hit vertical speed. Between all of that, it works. So I will figure out what it is later, but for now, to get this video off in time, because it's been like 3 weeks since I've posted, just bear with me. I'll figure that out. But anyway, we are descending into Nice. So embarrassed I didn't remember that that's what the way you pronounce it. But I thought I would give you just a little bit of information about the aircraft since we're in our descent. So it has a maximum operating altitude of 45,000 feet. And under certain conditions, it could go to 49,000 feet. Maximum takeoff altitude is 10,000 feet, so, you know, you could, you know, get out of Quito approach. I believe that's appropriate for this aircraft. Its takeoff speeds, well, let me put it like this. Your ground speed maximum would be 200 knots with your tires in contact with the ground would be 180. 210 at best, but then you need to get off the ground, you're going to be wearing out tires. And your demonstrated crosswind performance is 23 knots, and maximum tailwind is 10 knots, and that's for takeoff, if I'm correct. So, and it has a intercontinental range. I don't have it in my notes right here, but this can, you know, go from the United States to Europe, as I understand the notes correctly. So, this is a, you know, substantial aircraft. If you want to be something above just your regular general aviation, but not necessarily your commercial aircraft, I think you would be really, I think you would enjoy flying this aircraft. I hope I'm giving you a good look-see as to what it can do. Now, Uh-oh.
Control 134.15.
Let me do a repeat. What did she say?
Say again.
Falcon 368. Contact. Mono control 134.15.
Oh, okay. Contact.
Milano control on 134.15.
Okay, and so it's already going to contact.
Falcon 368 is with you, leaving flight level 2624, flight level 240.
Falcon 368. Milano control. Roger. Wind ready. Descend. Flight level 160.
Okay, so we're going to descend 160 and acknowledge.
When ready, descend, flight level 160, Falcon 368.
When you're using radar contact, you got to be on your stuff.
68. Detect. Milano control 125.27. Have a good flight.
Acknowledge.
Milano control on 125.27. Milano control, Falcon 368 is with you, leaving flight
Okay, we just got a little, our speed a little away from us, but we pulled back, we're okay.
160.
Falcon 368, control, roger.
Okay, so one of the reasons we were having so much turbulence is that at altitude, we were getting 146 knots of wind. But luckily, we turned south and we had a tailwind working with us. But things are a lot more stable now. We're looking at 84 knot winds. A little bit of a tailwind, more of a tail cross. But things should be good for now. But, whew, man, it was getting rough up there. While we are in our descent, I will give you a couple of visuals. Here's out the window. But also, if I zoom out, you can also see the plush. Uh-oh. I hear those speed restrictions, or speed warning. Okay, pulling back off the throttle more. But yeah, it looks really nice in here. Our crew is, our passengers are traveling in relative comfort. Okay, so looking out the other window. And I know the wing's taking up a lot, so we can just go ahead and glance out here. And see the wonderful French countryside. Okay. We got work to do, so not going to be too much more of that. And we'll put that in the nav 1, but we're going to have to handle that course at the appropriate time. So I just can't do it right now because I keep messing up tracking our navigation. It's like I want to hold the VNav while I preset the course for our VOR1, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet, so we're just going to let it go. But at least I now know. See, there's the preset. You see the presets right there? But when I hit that preset, things went crazy. So I'm not going to mess with it. Not right now. Yeah. Course mode, FMS. So it's in FMS, so I can't really do anything with it. Because I know that's like an issue when you fly the Dash 8, and there's a way to preset it and it not mess with your navs. I just haven't figured out how to do it with this. But that's okay. Now we are approaching the Mediterranean, so this is looking rather nice. And I don't think we should have an issue with the mountains. Oh, that altitude is just letting you know that we're approaching our 12,000 feet. So if we did this properly, it should level out at 12,000. But I'm going to be on top of it just in case this thing doesn't want to act right. And by the way, I'm going to bring the throttles back a bit, because once we get to 10,000, we want to be at 250 or below in terms of knots. So I'm going to get off the throttles just a wee bit. Okay, so it is leveling out. We are doing things properly. Excellent.
Falcon 368, contact, approach 134.47.
Oh my gosh, the Eagles beat the Saints beat the Eagles. That just came up on my phone. Oh yeah, acknowledge.
3.4.47.
But I figured that. The Saints are strong.
Falcon 368 is with you at flight level 120.
Falcon 368 approach. Expect vectors to the runway 04 left.
Acknowledge. 04 left.
Runway 04 left. Falcon 368.
We did anticipate that, and we're expecting.
Falcon 368 fly heading 220 degrees. Descend flight level 90.
Okay, flight level 90, and it said 220 heading. It's off. Okay, now it's on. So that. No. We want you. Get down, darn it.
Falcon 368. Sir, you've busted your altitude again. Be careful now. Your assigned altitude is flight level 90.
See?
Falcon 368. I say again. Fly heading 220 degrees.
I did 220, didn't I? 220. Yes.
Falcon 368. Roger. Fly heading 220 degrees. Falcon 368.
Now I'm in trouble. I was doing good too. Alright, altitude selector is on, and we're descending at 2,000 feet per minute. So we should be level. It didn't. What? Where's it? This should be at 9,000. And ooh. Oh yeah, you're pulling up. Good. Okay, so it's working right. All right. So now I can give it a little more throttle because we're at 210. I'm gonna leave it right about at 210. There we go. All right. I would have had it perfect if it wasn't for that, but that's okay. We are now following vectors. We're doing good. Nobody should be mad at us. We just can't have any more mistakes like that. All right, so now that we know that we're on vectors and we're no longer following the FMS, let's go ahead and tell it our source to say that we're going to do VOR1, and our nav source will be VOR1. That way, and so now we can go ahead and do this for the course for the airport, which is 42. Okay. We want our course to be 42 degrees. Since we're on vectors, we can do this. Should have just been patient. Wouldn't have been a problem.
Falcon 368. Fly heading 225.
Fly heading 225.
Heading 225. Falcon 368.
Okay. 225 and
Departure for 2692 is with you, leaving 5,100 feet or flight level 150.
Orbit 2692. Radar contact. Climb flight level 150. Fly heading 020 degrees.
Climb flight level 150, fly heading 020.
okay, so we've got that at 42. We are now holding steady around 237 knots, and we are flying heading 225, which is exactly what they asked for, and we are holding at 9,000 feet. So everything is good. I now know when she says change altitude, if you acknowledge, you need to be dropping. So to keep radar contact from getting pissed off with you, I would suggest get your altitude at least very close to the altitude you need, because you need to be descending. So get it, then acknowledge, because otherwise she's going to be like, hey, you're busting your altitude. Get down. So, mistake on my part. I have not flown with radar contact in a while, and I can see that I need to because I'm slipping. But it's still fun getting my weight up.
2692 is
Okay, so we're getting set up for a really good approach. May cut some of this out, just for the instance of time, because we're at 54 minutes. But for the most part, we're doing well. I'm excited. So, I see that our localizer and our glide slope are active.
692. Contact Marseille Control 125.27. See you later.
Marseille Control 125.
I'm going to come back on the throttles just a little bit.
Altimeter check.
Now, I really do need to learn how to timestamp where things are happening. I haven't figured out how to do that, and I know that someone made that suggestion, and I need to Google it so that I can do it. So you can go to, okay, here's where the approach is, or what have you. Please know that I'm cognizant of it.
368, fly heading 2368, fly heading 320 degrees.
320, acknowledge.
Heading 320 degrees, Falcon 368.
You know, those throttles kicked up when I looked out the window, and from some previous experiences, it all makes sense. So here's a glitch. If you go look at your windows and you're, you know, flying, it may in fact actually kick your throttles up. Because I remember it doing that to me when I was doing a test run and I was actually cruising on the ground. And I just looked out the window. Next thing you know, I was going like 80 knots, and I was like, where did that happen? So, okay, glitch for Carenado, I think this is a glitch. Your throttles kick in when you look at the window if you're just trying to take a view. So please, if that is a glitch, put that in your next patch. Because I'm actually flying this patch 1.1. Okay, here we go. We're almost at 180, so that's good. And we have like roughly a 5-degree nose up, which is perfectly fine. Okay, looking wonderful. So as you can tell, I'm flying for the Republic of Italy right now. They needed a pilot. I said, hey, I'm not doing anything. We can rock that. All right. We are... looking good. Oh, we just hit the hour mark. We will be trimming this down. You may not see it, but know that I still have yet to edit, so we may actually even cut this part out. But nevertheless, we are really set up really nicely for our approach. We have a nice 182 knots. Want to get it down to 180. 5 degrees nose up. And we have all of our frequencies set and tuned, so this should be a wonderful approach. Alright. Let me zoom in here. Localizer is alive. Come on, 8.
Falcon 368, approach 18 miles. From the marker, fly heading 015, maintain 5,000 feet until established on the localizer. Cleared ILS, runway 04 left, approach.
Okay, let's let her say that one more time.
Say again.
Falcon 368, approach 18 miles. From the marker, fly heading 015, maintain 5,000 feet until established on the localizer. Cleared ILS, runway 04 left, approach.
Okay. Acknowledged.
Fly heading 015, maintain 5,000 feet, cleared ILS.
Alright, we're going to get on that localizer and maintain 5,000 until on the localizer. That is fine. I'm going to go ahead and hit our nav so that we get our localizer back.
Decimal 7 Pacifica 8395.
Pacifica 8395.
Alright, gear down. Wait, are we close enough? Gear down. Now we'll give it a little bit more throttle for that extra drag. And we're going to give it slats. And we're going to give it a little bit more throttle so that we hold at 170 knots. Okay, localizer is just popped up. Excellent. And, okay, lower throttle just a wee bit. And so we will be able to hit our approach in just a moment. I do not believe this has Category 3 ILS, nor would I use it, because that's no fun. But we are lining up on our navs. Excellent. On our localizer. Give it a little bit of throttle. Excellent. And our glide slope is alive. So we will be hitting it in just a second. Our approach. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and hit it now. Approach is on. And then when it is, I will reduce thrust to 140. Okay, we are now on our descent. I am bringing back our thrust. Our VREFs are already in the computer. Our V approach is coming. This is looking like 140 or 135. And our VREF is 120. So we are good to go. Coming down. The approach, we will give our flaps and just as soon as we get V approach, I will extend flaps. And actually, we're only at 5 degrees nose up, so I actually don't even think I'm going to pull the flaps out just yet. Beautiful. This is probably the best approach that I've done in this thus far. Now, our missed approach altitude is 4,000, so we're going to, since we're already on the glide slope, I'm going to go ahead and set our missed approach altitude.
American 2248, contact Marseille Control 125 decimal.
And I'm going to give us our first flap.
Flight 25.27, American 2248.
Okay, we're bleeding off speed with the extra drag, so I'm giving a little bit more throttle so that when we hit V approach, we just kind of sit on it. Okay, good. No, we don't want to go too high. There we go. There we are. We are trusting our instruments. Now, I will give you an opportunity to look at this beautiful scenery. So I am using Land Class Europe, so that
altitude
definitely assists in our visuals. But I just wanted you to be able to see what our instruments are doing. And we are lined up
American 2248.
wonderfully.
Marseille Control 125 decimal 27. Have a good flight.
Marseille Control 125 decimal 27, American 2248.
Okay. Stall speed is just under 100 knots, but we ain't getting nowhere near that. I'm bringing it back a little bit more so that we can be on V approach. Wonderful autogen scenery with a nice haze on the atmospheric effects. We are on the glide slope. Okay, we're going to give it a little bit of throttle because we are now a little under V approach, but we should be actually V ref. So I'm going to keep, you know, just between the two. If we can pull that off, drop it. All right.
Falcon 368. Contact tower 1.
Little bit of turbulence.
7.
Okay. Acknowledge.
Tower on 118.7.
Now, as you can see, we're a little off the center line, so I'm about to make this my aircraft and get us over a little bit because our course is 42, but it doesn't seem to be particularly lined up. So, acknowledge.
Roger, Falcon 368.
Alright, my aircraft.
Autopilot.
Now, I know that you only see half the screen, but in actuality, I have the instruments extended on my monitor, and I have all of them, so I can see the ILS, I can see the navs. You're just looking at the artificial horizon. Alright.
Clear to land, Falcon 368.
Okay, we are clear to land. We are a little under the glide slope, so I'm going to give it a little bit of throttle. Hey, captains, I'm so sorry, but right here I ran out of disk space for my recording. This went a little long, so it's actually going to cut off just before touchdown. I will make sure that I get a bigger drive or cut down my video in the future, but I want to say thank you for tuning in. I will have to get another full approach so that you can see the landing in this beautiful aircraft. I appreciate you tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and I hope this video helped you decide whether you might want to purchase this aircraft or maybe go with flight somewhere. Either way, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all in the virtual skies.